So, welcome to Monday Yoga for all levels. Today, our focus is on the lotus. So, I'd like you to just take a seat, and I'm going to go over to my mat to just kind of demonstrate a couple of things right away as we get started today. So, the Lotus Pose is a pose that's really tricky for a lot of people's knees, and it is for mine. And so, Lotus Pose is bringing your foot up into your hip and letting the knee drop down, and then folding the other foot up on top. So, I find that to be a pose that's really hard for my knees. And so, what I like to do is get up on a cushion, and then if I have just one foot on top, that feels pretty good to me. So if that doesn't work for you, you're just going to sit either in a chair or on a cushion in easy seat with your legs crossed. There are a couple of benefits to this yoga pose. One is that it stretches the outer ankles. It's supposed to be good for foot and ankle health, but also it locks our spine into a taller position, makes it harder to slump. So once you find your comfortable seat, my friends, will you just close your eyes? And just start to connect with your breath. Deep, slow breaths in and long, slow breaths out. And as we take these breaths, let's just picture in our mind the lotus flower, starting from the roots. So feel your hips, your foot or feet growing roots into the earth, and just imagine this dark, murky, muddy bottom of a pond. And that's where your roots are, in this darkness. And from those roots, rooted in that deep, dark soil, a stem begins to rise up through the dark, murky water. So you might imagine that stem being kind of like your spine. And as you inhale, just imagine that stem reaching up from the darkness of the roots, looking upward and reaching toward daylight. And imagine the crown of your head opening like the petals of a lotus, just one by one opening into the sunlight. We're rooted in darkness, and we rise up with our eyes turned toward the light. Let's let each breath that we take just remind us to sit a little taller, to reach through the spine and through the crown of the head a tiny bit more. You can bring your hands together, touching the base of your wrist, your thumb, and your pinky finger together. And this is Padme Mudra. It's the mudra of the lotus. So your hand's kind of making a little lotus flower as well. Let's take a couple more breaths right here with that image. Roots down, crown lifted, breath making us taller. And maybe you can bring to mind the idea of how or where you are looking to the light. Let your hands come back to your lap, just resting your hands on your thighs, and begin to lift your chest on the inhale and round your chest on the exhale. So you're just doing a little seated cat and cow. And you might just picture in your mind that lotus kind of waving in the water. Just kind of moving, swaying, without a lot of tension. And maybe even move your rib cage side to side as we're sitting here. As if there was just a current in the water that's just kind of pulling that stem side to side. And let's start to make circles. Let's bring the rib cage forward and around. And then just reversing that, pull the rib cage forward, moving around the other way. Just finding those little pockets of tightness inside this body, places where tension has been stored, and just sending some tenderness and ease. Go ahead and come back to the center and shrug your shoulders up to your ears, squeeze tight, and then pull your shoulders back and down. We'll just do that 2 more times. Nice big shoulder circles. And just notice again if there's anything stored right there. Snuggle your shoulders down, kind of wiggle them around a little bit. Let your fingertips come to the floor on either side of you. And let's sweep the right arm up and over, just stretching long through the side body. You can bend your elbow and just let those fingers kind of hang off of your hand. And then let's just start to move with breath here. Elbow touches that opposite knee and then sweeps up and back in a diagonal motion. Touches the knee and sweeps back. Holding that elbow back, extend your arm all the way up, reach your fingers to that wall behind you and maybe even a little farther. See if you can feel some space and opening across your chest. Switch. Drop the right arm, lift the left. Put some space in the side of your body and then just bending the elbow, let those fingers just kind of dangle there. And we'll begin moving with breath here, elbow toward the knee and opening up and back. Exploring that upper chest, upper back, shoulder area. And then with that arm up, reach your fingers high and back. Peel open another layer around the chest. And come back to center. And let's bring our hands together in front of our heart like that lotus again. Rooting down, finding that dark soil that we root into, lifting the spine. Let's reach the arms up, and as we do, look up like you're looking toward the sun. And then just slowly peel your arms open. You can imagine that beautiful opalescent lotus opening at the top of the water. And let's do that 2 more times. Scoop the arms up, make that lotus with your fingers, lift high. Just let that new summer sunlight pour over you. 1 more time. Reach, look up, lift up. And then peel open. Beautiful, everybody. Let's come around to a tabletop position so you can lose any pillow or cushion maybe that you were using. And from all fours, again, we'll do cat-cow first. Forward and back. If you enjoyed what we did last week with the feet, maybe tuck your toes while we're doing cat-cow and stretch the underside of your toes. And finding a neutral position, walk your hands forward, shift to the top of your mat. So you're just coming into a kneeling plank, and you want your feet flat for this one, and press back into child's pose. Let's move with breath. Inhale to lengthen and exhale to press back. As you come back into that child's pose, you may take some time to just kind of shift your hips from side to side. No need to move fast. We'll do a few more. Starting to match movement with breath. And as we reach our hips back, this time let's tuck our toes and slowly, like you're peeling open, come up into downward facing dog. Let the legs straighten so slowly. And then just start to pedal your heels here. And just take a little bit of time to find your way into your downward facing dog. And friends, remember that tabletop all fours is always a great option, especially if you have tender wrists, if something just doesn't feel great, modify. From our downward facing dog, begin to walk your feet to meet your hands and come into ragdoll. Let's take our feet a little bit wider, bend the knees, and just let your belly hang down between your thighs. Fingers touching elbows. Sway your torso to the left and to the right. If you feel pain in your back, bend your knees more. Maybe even keep your hands on your legs or on your thighs for a little extra support. And with the fingertips on the mat, let's heel toe our feet closer together. We'll press the hands to the shins, lengthen and lift through the crown of the head. With soft knees, let your arms reach behind you and then scoop the arms all the way up into a back bend. And it can be a tiny little back bend. Let's do that a few more times. Bend the knees and reach back. And slowly lift up, look up, like you're just opening yourself up to the sun. Scoop back. It's the biggest comfortable range of motion you can find with this movement. So beautiful to see all of you moving and stretching and breathing on a summer day. Finding space in your body. One more time. Reach high. And then pause here to look up at your hands. Create that lotus again. Touch your fingers, touch your thumbs, palms together, look up. And then just open that flower as wide as you can, as slowly as you can. And let's find mountain pose. Perfect. So now our feet grow roots down into that soil, and our whole body becomes the stem. The crown of our head reaches to the sky. Let's inhale the arms overhead. And swan dive, forward fold. We'll press into a half lift and fold deeper. Scoop the arms high, bring your fingers into lotus, and just draw that right down into your heart. Awesome, let's do that again. Reach high. Swan dive, forward fold. Half lift. Forward fold. Reach high. And bring that lotus right down into your heart. You might even look into that flower. One more time, we'll reach and we'll fold. Lifting halfway. Fold a little deeper. Sweep high. And let your hands come back into front of your heart and just pause here. Roots down, stem long, crown lifted. And as it's because of those dark places we've been in our lives that we have the ability to see the light, to turn our eyes up. Let's reach the arms high one more time, my friends. And this time we'll swan dive forward fold. And with the fingers in front of the toes, let's keep the right foot where it is and step our left foot back into low lunge. And just take a second here to just feel some length across your left hip. Your right foot is firmly planted, and then we'll scoop our arms high, extended mountain. Take your right fingers around your left wrist and stretch that arm up a little higher. Maybe yawn and breathe into the left side of your rib cage, your left armpit, your left leg. And releasing those hands back to the earth. Let's twist. So the left hand stays down, the right arm reaches high. Let everything extend and expand. Fingers, heel, head, everything reaches long. We'll lower that hand to the earth. Walk the hands to the inside or the long edge of the mat, but I want you to keep this, it's going to be your right knee bent. And then just come down into a stretch for your left inner thigh. Probably looks backwards on the screen. But keep your right knee bent and stretch your left inner thigh. And shifting over. Stretch the left side, so bend the left knee, lift the right toes. You might even use your left elbow pressing against that left knee for a little extra attention. And as we release, we'll turn to the back of our mat for that high lunge. So take some time to get your footing beneath you and then reach up, high lunge. You might be facing the back wall. That's okay. Just plant your left foot firmly. Lift your fingers. And then use your left hand around your right wrist to pull yourself up. Extra breath into your right shoulder, right ribs, right lung. And let's release our hands back to the floor. Come around to the long edge of your mat, and this time we'll start on the left side, just bending that knee, kind of leaning into your elbow with your knee. Let your hips sink down a bit, inner thigh. And switch. Bending the right knee. Finding those adductors, inner thigh muscles. And we'll turn back toward the front edge of our mat, lunge position. Go ahead and step to downward facing dog, pedaling out your heels. If you'd like, you can take a vinyasa if you enjoy moving through plank pose and chaturanga in between sections of the class. And now we'll just step our left foot to the top of the mat. Coming into this lunge, plant your right hand down and open your left arm into a twist. Everything extended and long, open, reaching. Fill with breath. A healing, soul restoring breath. Good. And then the hand comes to the mat. Let's drop the back heel to the earth, rising up to warrior one. And warrior one, pressing out through the outer edge of the back foot, the back heel. Front knee is bent. Let's interlace our hands, and we'll bring the hands to the back of the head and start to press our head back into our hands, opening the elbows, lifting through the rib cage. I don't know what it is, but this one always feels like we just turned up the heat. It's a powerful pose. Strong feet, strong legs, open heart. Releasing those hands down to the sides, interlace your hands behind you. And if that doesn't work easily, grab a towel or a strap, and we're diving into humble warrior. So I kind of like to dive inside the left leg, head to the earth, knuckles to the sky. And while you're here, just really explore with your breath, expansion, opening. What feels tight and restricted here, and can you just bring breath into those spaces to create a little more space? Let your hands come down to the mat. Walk your hands to the long edge of your mat, coming into a wide straddle. And this time we'll just turn the toes out a little bit, and we'll go back and forth, side to side, with the inner thighs stretching. You can keep your spine flat and long, or you can drape down. Just exploring side to side. We'll make our way to the back edge of our mat for warrior one. So take some time, find your feet beneath you, back heel is dropped, and we rise up. You might feel like you're lifting the arch of that back foot. Interlacing your fingers, hands come to the back of your head, and then just press. Use the strength of your head and your neck to open your chest. Fill with breath. Expand. Extend. And then release your hands down. Interlace and open. Come into humble warrior. Head reaches for the earth, knuckles lift to the sky. This pose is a pose of strength, so see if you can feel that through the bottom of your feet, that rooting down into the earth, and the stability of your legs. Can you feel the strength of your core supporting you here, and then the flexibility, the opening through your shoulders, and the neck is loose. No held breath, just a long exhale. Really beautiful, everyone. Release your fingers to the mat and come back to that wide straddle, starting to lunge your legs from side to side. Let's heel toe, our feet closer together. With a bend in the knees, scoop your arms all the way up to extended mountain. And again, just open up slowly. Awesome. I'm going to do a little bit of balance work. And so if you want to touch a wall or bring a chair to help you with balance, that's an option. We're going to start by standing on our right leg and picking up our left knee. So I want you to just kind of lift and lower that knee a few times and just feel that action of flexion of the hip. Just feel those hip flexors. You might even take your fingers and just dig them into the crease of your hip and feel those really cord-like deep, ropey muscles. So that's what's lifting the leg, and we're going to stay right there. But now put your hand on your outer hip and feel rotation. Feel the muscles that rotate that femur outward. Piriformis, deep six. We're going to hold that rotation out while we come into tree. So you can keep your toes on the floor, you can find your low leg, or if you like, assist yourself to come to the upper leg. Find your roots. Lengthen through the stem of your body. And then let's come to lotus. You can shift your eyes forward to a point that's not moving. Connect breath to what's happening right now. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to soften. Yeah, and if you fall, just come back. Just come back. Your roots are still there. We're going to stay on this leg and go ahead and just bring that foot up so that it comes even higher on the leg into a figure four. Yeah. And then we'll go ahead and sit. So the right leg is now like a chair. And we'll just sit forward. Should feel something around your left hip. Hands come into lotus. Let's lean forward and see about bringing elbows closer to that shin and ankle. You've got your roots into the earth. Your body is the stem, and you're just lengthening out through the crown of the head. If you'd like a little more sensation, well, let's say a lot more sensation, bring your hands to the floor and come into a figure four, forward bend. Let's ease ourselves back up. We'll come to standing in mountain pose. Everybody join me in going, whoo! Ah, yeah, make some noise. Shake out your legs. You're standing on the right foot, so maybe just roll that right ankle out a bit. Massage your left hip. And let's switch that up. So we'll stand on the right foot and bring your fingers to the crease of your left hip. And sorry, you're standing on your left hip. We're backwards. Find your right hip flexors. Overworked and underpaid. All of our sitting has these guys just overworked. Now bring the leg up and start to engage rotation. You put your hand on your right hip and just feel those deep six muscles rotating the femur outward. And we'll come out and find our tree pose. Root down into that dark soil. Lift through the stem that's your body and find Lotus Mudra. When we hold this mudra in front of our heart, the translation of the mantra is, may my heart shine with this light that makes the world a brighter place. May I rise up from the darkness of my past, maybe even the darkness of this day, to shine my light into this world in the way that only I can. We'll start to bring that leg up a little higher, resting on the left thigh in a figure four. Just making any adjustments that you need. The chair with a wall. Eyes on one point. And you can create that lotus again, elbows onto the shins. I don't know enough about this to even speak, but there's something about the pressure points, the nerve endings where our fingers, our thumbs, and our wrists are touching, that creates another energetic response, creating peacefulness and calm in our bodies with this mudra. We use this with kids a lot when we're working in the schools. They love this one. If you'd like, you can fold a little deeper, fingers to the floor. And slowly, let's rise up, planting both feet. Shake it out. Woo. Yeah, good. Very, very nice. All right, turning to the front of your mat if you're not already. Let's inhale the arms all the way up into a back bend and swan dive, forward fold. We'll put a deep bend in our knees, hands come to the back of our heels, and let's use our arms to just pull us down into a little deeper stretch. Sitting bones lifting to the sky, head reaches for the earth. Breathe in, breathe out. Placing our hands on the mat, let's step back into downward facing dog. Another option to take a vinyasa if you like, and we will all meet in child's pose. In child's pose, let's take our knees a little wider. Let's let our forehead rest either on the ground, the backs of your hands, or on a block. Take a few deep breaths here in child's pose. A deep forward bend. A pose of surrender. A pose of safety and protection. When you feel ready, just shift forward all the way down onto your belly. We'll come into some backward bending postures. So let's start with probably the easiest, which is cobra. Hands are right by your shoulders, and we're just going to lift up into a gentle back bend where there's no weight in our hands. Just feel your shoulder blades wrapping onto your back. Take some deep breaths, and you might even feel your body lifting a little as you breathe in and your belly pushes into the floor. If you'd like to go a little farther, bring your forearms to the mat and pull your belly button forward and your chest up. So you're kind of trying to lengthen your body even though you're not moving. It's kind of like sliding forward. Breathe deeply here. Strength in the back and length in the front. We'll release ourselves down to the floor. I think it's going to be hard for me to show this because I'm so close to my wall, but I'd like you to take your arms out into a T. And we're going to pick up our right foot. And that right foot swings around to touch the floor behind us. And I'm hoping you can see that. I'm laying on the front of my left shoulder. My right knee is up and my right foot is resting on the floor behind me. I guess I come over here maybe. So what we're feeling is this opening around the left shoulder. And you can keep your right fingertips on the floor, or sometimes people like to just wrap their arm behind their back. Reach toward that foot. Just play around a little bit here with this chest opener, heart opener. Exaggerating breath into the shoulders. Returning to the center, we'll just switch that. So you're laying flat on your back with your arms out in a T, and you're bending your left foot, left knee, and swinging that leg around behind you. So now we're just laying on the right shoulder. See if you can direct your breath right into that space, the front of your right shoulder. See if there's anything there that wants to be unwound or dismantled. We'll return ourselves back to center. With our hands right underneath our shoulders, let's press ourselves up to a tabletop position, squaring things off so the hands are right under the shoulders, the knees are under the hips, and we'll take a spinal balance. So just pick up your right hand and then your left knee and reach both out away from the midline of your body. Bend your left knee. And the right arm now comes behind you, reaching towards that foot. And that might be the pose for you today, just reaching toward the foot. But if your fingers can grab that ankle, go ahead and do that. And then just kick your foot into your hand. Open, extend, and expand. Once your body finds the pose, bring the breath in to take you just a step further. We'll release that, come back into your spinal balance, and release to all fours. Wiggle around a little bit through the hips, and then we'll switch sides, left arm and right leg. Bending the right knee, just reach your left hand back. And again, that might be the pose for today. You could also put a strap around your ankle or grab your foot. Breathe here. Extend and expand. Let's release. Come way out long. And then return to the earth. And shifting things around a little bit, we'll wiggle our way around into a seated position. Clearing the flesh from underneath our hips. Good. Okay, so we're moving into our deepest forward bend. This is Janu Shirshasana, and we're going to go easy with this because I know a couple of you have back pain going on right now. So what I'd like to offer is, first of all, just bending the knee to the inside of the foot, to the inside of the knee, and then fingertips behind and just leaning forward a little bit from the waist or from the hips. That's stop number one, okay? If that gives you a green light, the second option would be a deep forward fold coming toward the foot or the ankle. And as an added option today, we could bring this foot closer to the hip, creating a little bit more of a lotus-like posture and folding over that. So that's where I would place the block under my knee if I wanted to take that expression. That would feel better to my knee. We're going to be here for several breaths. So see if you can find your comfy place. The place where breath is not a struggle. That's always the way to know that you got in over your head if breath becomes a struggle. And just check in. What is here to be noticed? Look inside. Come into this beautiful sanctuary, the human body. What's here to be discovered? What wants to be noticed right now? As we rise up, let's leave our legs wherever they are and just create a little twist. So just moving to that side. And we picture again roots reaching down into the earth, the dark soil, spine lifting like the stem, and the crown opening like the lotus. We'll return to center and begin to release that. You can shake your legs out a little bit. And we'll set up the exact same thing on the other side. Well, maybe not the exact same thing. Maybe your sides are different. But option one is just the simple version with hands behind and an easy lean forward that doesn't strain your low back. Option two is to deepen that forward bend. And option three is to bring the foot up on top of the thigh or close to the groin, maybe supporting with a block. So take a moment to set up your base for Janu Shirshasana. And then in we go. Looking inward, self-discovery. What's here to be noticed? What wants your attention right now? And are you willing to stay here and give your attention to that whisper? Or maybe it's a scream. Are we listening? We'll come up and leave our legs where they are, moving into our twist. Roots reaching down, spine lifting up. Being your own chiropractor, right? Own adjustments. Let's release any props that we were using there. We'll take our legs out and give them another little shake. We're going to make our way down onto our back. And once you get down on your back, plant your feet for bridge and just rock them side to side a few times. Just give yourself a little massage across your sacrum. Nice and easy. And then crossing the right leg over the left leg. So again, we have a couple of options. Figure 4 is going to be a little easier twist. legs crossed is going to make this a little bit more intense. So arms open to the sides and the knees drop to the left. You can place a hand on the top knee. Take a moment to wiggle into your expression of the twist. The head turns to look over the right arm. You might just close your eyes here and fill with breath. Empty the breath. Fill and empty. Keeping your focus internal, this sanctuary of self. What's happening here right now, so much more important than anything else you could give your attention to. Now, here, and this. When you're ready, just unwind and switch. Letting your arms extend, the left leg either in a figure four or crossed as you shift into twisting on the second side. Again, just letting your breath expand the posture. So we're never stagnant. These postures are always just pulsating, moving with breath. I invite you to take the next minute or so to do any other movement or shape or stretch that your body is craving. And if your body and your mind are ready for Shavasana, that will be our next stop. Just intuitively, what's necessary to end this practice. Seeing a lot of really beautiful choices, and I am so grateful to you for just listening to your body and giving yourself permission to do exactly what you're doing right now. That is real asana practice. You are the teacher. So then just beginning to find your way into either Shavasana or seated meditation, whichever calls to you today, whichever place allows you a few moments of stillness and ease and tenderness and being with yourself. Bring the image back of those roots reaching down into the dark, fertile soil, and the spine reaching up, growth, development, learning, and the lotus emerging with its face turned toward the sun. Petals opening one by one. From the poem Awakening Now, Why wait for your awakening? The moment your eyes are open, seize the day. Would you hold back when the beloved beckons? Would you deliver your litany of sins like a child's collection of seashells prized and labeled? No, don't step across the threshold, you say, eyes downcast. I'm not worthy. I'm afraid and my motives aren't pure. I'm not perfect. And sadly, I haven't practiced nearly enough. My meditation isn't deep and my prayers are sometimes insincere. I still chew my fingernails and the refrigerator isn't clean. Do you value your reasons for staying small than the light shining through the open door? Forgive yourself. Now is the only time you have to be whole. Now is the sole moment that exists to live in the light of your true self. Perfection is not a prerequisite for anything but pain. Please, oh please, don't continue to believe in your disbelief. This is the day of your awakening. Will you slowly and very lovingly find your way to a seat? And when you find your seat, find your roots. Lengthen your stem. Let the crown of your head open toward the sunlight on the first full day of summer. Let's bring our hands again into this Lotus Mudra, this reminder that if it weren't for the darkness, we could not have the light. It's from the darkness that we grow. The darkness of our past, the darkness that we find ourselves in now. We all now have a stronger desire to look up, to see the sun, to be the light. Today is the day of our awakening, my friends. Thank you so much for being here together on our yoga mats. Let's close those hands in a gesture of gratitude for yourself, for each other, the gift that yoga can be in our day, gift for the lessons we have right in front of us right now to learn. May we learn. May we learn. Namaste.